Do not get in touch with me complaining because you have contacted 4 different potential clients and no one has gotten back to you. Don't come to me complaining that you've contacted 4 different agencies and no one's returned your emails, and so you don't know what to do, and what's wrong with the industry and what's wrong with the world today and stuff like that. Today, I'm going to be addressing this, and I'm going to be doing so by means of a book. So this is actually going to be a review about Grit, about this book that I recently finished reading, and that I think really pertains to us as freelancers, as freelance translators, as entrepreneurs, as self-employed people, people who work for ourselves, because grit is something that is extremely important for us, and that each and every one of us needs in our own way. And so let me get into it. First of all, I want to say I really like this book a lot, but I want to start off with some of the bad points about it, just to sort of be fair. First of all, there is a quote. It reminded me right away of a quote because I've always been a big fan of perseverance. And and this whole book reminded me of perseverance, and it reminded me of a quote that I really liked back in undergrad. And I thought it was like Ray Kroc, like the founder of McDonald's or something, but apparently it wasn't. I think he just maybe had it on his desk or something. The original quote was by Calvin Coolidge, so let me read it out to you. He said, "Nothing in this world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of uneducated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. The slogan 'Press On' has solved and always will solve the problems of the human race." So what does this mean? Basically, that persistence is extremely important, and it's something that is based. And well, he's saying it's the most important trait anyone can have for succeeding in life and in business and whatever it might be. And this book basically kind of says the same thing. Now, what he said was persistence and determination. That's what Calvin Coolidge said. She calls it passion and perseverance. It's basically the same thing. Now, she goes into it. Ooh, I'm out of focus here. Hello? Well, sorry if I'm out of focus. That's probably better for you guys. Anyway, she says well, actually, she goes through all the science and all the studies behind it and everything, and obviously goes into it a lot more detail than just that quote. So it's useful anyway, but it seems odd that she doesn't even mention that quote, which to me right away came to my mind when I was reading her book. And the second thing I didn't like too much about it is she talks about having a passion. Obviously, that's part of the title here, having passion. And it's one of those same things about finding your passion in life, finding what you're passionate about and following your passion, et cetera, et cetera. And this kind of talk sort of really annoys me because I find that or most people, I think, are not that passionate about creating the best widget in the world or something. And it does create some passion, obviously. I do like what I do. I'm lucky enough to really like what I do. I think if I were working in a law firm or an accounting firm or anything, I wouldn't like my job nearly as much. I really like what I do. But the fact of the matter is, at the end of the day, I have a daughter, a wife, and everything, and I'm doing what I do to be able to provide a good life for my family. In fact, what I'd like is to be able to earn enough so I don't have to think about money. I don't like thinking about money, whether it's worrying about bills or even just having too much and trying to show off what money I have or something. I just don't like thinking about it. And that's sort of my motivation, to provide a good life for my family, even more so than all this other stuff. And when people talk about having a passion, including the author here, to me, it always seems like you have to search for some way that you want to change the world or whatever. And obviously everyone, myself included, I would like to write a book. I'd like to do this. I'd like to do that and all that, those other things. But I'm not sure it's necessarily the driving force. It's the whole concept of, does a shoemaker want to provide the best shoe for his community, or does he want to put food on the table for his family? And I think both can be equally as motivating. But when she talks about passion, it's very much along the other side. You want to find a job that you're passionate about. And the problem there, now what I do like is that she goes into it a bit more, because the problem there is that a lot of people then think, oh, I need to find what I'm really passionate about. What's my most, it's really annoying me that I'm out of focus here. Sorry. I think it's also all the weird shadows that I have. Anyway, oh, that's way worse. Okay. Anyway, no, I think, and that annoys me when people try to do that. When they try to force a passion on people and they try to find a passion out of And if they find something but they don't like it as much, then they're like, that's not my passion, I can't do it and stuff. And she in fact has the example of her father, who got into the chemical business just because his father wanted him to, and that was it. And he didn't really like it at first. He wanted to do other stuff, but he stuck with it. And over the years and decades that he did it, it actually did become a passion for him. And he really liked what he did. And that's her thing. She's like, basically, you can pretty much take anything you do and it can become your passion over time. And I think that's very interesting and very key. And it's very true. Even stuff you might not like at all. You might not like, basket weaving at all. But if you actually got into basket weaving with a lot of professional basket weavers and people who are really into it, chances are you couldn't avoid getting more into it, because you'll learn a lot more about the different types of material, the different ways to do it, how it works, how it doesn't, et cetera, et cetera. You'll create your own baskets and whatever it might be. I know nothing about basket weaving, but just to show you, pretty much anything in life, that's the case. And the more you know about it, the more you get into it, the more you kind of end up liking it. So actually, when I say I'm glad I'm not working in a law firm and an accounting firm, I don't know. Maybe if I had a summer job in a law firm and really didn't like it, but maybe if I had stuck with it and actually gotten a law degree or something, I would have really been into it. Who knows? Well, and she says there's certain ways to do it, not just keep doing it itself, but actually keep doing it and trying to improve all the time. And that really helps you get to know it better and have more of a passion for it. And I really like that she goes into depth about that as well, because I think that really helps for a lot of people, and becoming passionate about what they're doing and how they're doing it. And yeah, so then how does this tie into the quote that I said at the beginning? Basically, she says that we need a lot of grit with what we do. And I think for us freelancers, it's very much true. And we'll find ourselves very often, because we have to create something out of nothing, recreating our own business, the fact that we exist as a business out of nothing, which means doing everything from scratch, right? Finding our clients and creating our portfolio, creating our knowledge that we have in our head, and all that stuff. And yeah, it takes a lot of grit to do that, because we're not going to make all the right steps. No one does that. And it's not like where you're in school and you follow all the instructions, say, do this, do this, do this, and you will pass the grade. No, that's not how it works in life. You could do this, do this, do this, and not be successful. But someone else does the same things and is successful. That's just the way it goes. And so there are no set rules that you can follow that will guarantee success, but just things that you can try to do and see what works and what doesn't for you, yourself, in this situation that you're in right now. And, so likewise, you follow exactly what like Mark Zuckerberg did, you won't become the next Mark Zuckerberg. That's not how it works at all. And I think a lot of people kind of don't understand that. And when I get emails from people who have sent out literally 4 emails to 4 clients and are mad that they haven't heard back, that's what I start thinking. I'm like, you really haven't understood how this works. And, because it is, especially when you're starting out trying to find your first clients, I've said this many times, but it's a numbers game, and you have to keep trying to get those numbers and to try to different tactics, different ways, but try to get your clients. And I also made a video. I think I've showed it already. I'm kind of scrabbling up how I'm posting these videos, because I'm recording a couple on the same day, but where I show what I'm going through. And I think it'll be before this video. So I've already posted it. Look there. And it shows you, for my business as a translation agency, how many emails I'm sending out. Okay. Because it's over 1,000. And it's just something like that. You just really have to keep going. And obviously, it's not always the same email. And, you keep tweaking it and working on it and working who you send it to, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But you need to keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. So don't come to me after 4 emails. Don't come to me after 5 or 10 or whatever it is, because you need to keep trying what you're doing. You need to have this grit, and not just trying it mindlessly, but keep improving upon yourself and keep doing it better and better. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about this. I think it's a really good book. It was preaching to the choir, because like I said, I always thought persistence was important, but I really liked how she went into detail about it, into the science, into the studies behind it, to show why and how it's important. And let's see if there are any other points that I took down in my notes. Oh, that's pretty much it. I mean, I covered what I wanted to cover with you. She talks about other things, like she goes in certain parts, she talks about how to instill grit in your children. And that, I found that very interesting, because I have a young daughter. But for purposes of this video, for you guys, I don't want to go too much into detail about that. But yeah, I've covered the main things. And like I said, it's been covered before. If you know Seth Godin, then you might have read his book called The Dip. And what he talks about is something similar, how everyone starts on wherever they start, and then things start getting harder after a while because you keep sending emails out, you keep doing something and start seeing less and less return. And then usually that's when people quit. But if you can go past that point, past the dip, then actually you start seeing more returns. And he's talking about the same thing. You need this grit. You need to keep going and going. And that's what she gets into. But she, like I said, gets into it from the point of view of a psychologist, of someone who studies the science behind it, basically, and as much as we have now in terms of studies and science behind it. And so, yeah, if this is something you think is interesting, if this is something you think you might need more of, then I highly recommend this book. I took her grit test, which she has, and I got a 4.2, which is not the best score, but she also talks about how you can get more grit, how you can instill more grit in yourself or in someone else, and have more of it as you go along. So I plan on doing that quite a bit. And I think that's it's something extremely important for each and every one of you who's a freelancer and who's an entrepreneur right now. So yeah, once again, I'll have links to it down in the description below. I usually, I'll put links for various places. When I put Amazon, I put Amazon.com. If you're in another country, you can just change the .com to .it or .co.uk, .co.jp, whatever country you're in. And usually it'll work out and you'll get the version from your country. Otherwise, I have other ones like bookdepository.com has free shipping worldwide, although their books tend to be a bit more expensive because of that. But anyway, I'll leave a few links down below, and that's pretty much it. Otherwise, I will talk to you next time. And yeah, that's it. Okay, bye. Savidum.